G'day teachers, welcome back to Tech It Up a Notch. I'm Rach, your curriculum guide, here to help you connect tech to powerful learning.
And I'm Claire, your tech guru, ready to demystify the digital world for your classroom. We are so excited to empower you to bring innovative tools to your teaching practice.
Tech It Up a Notch.
So how you going, Rach?
Yeah, pretty good. It's a beautiful day on Dark Country today. Beautiful blue skies. So, good day for recording podcasts.
It is. I'm very excited. We got to see each other work-wise the other week, which was very exciting.
Big highlight.
Yes, and actually I used Google Vids. My class went on an excursion the other week, and I made a Vids because all the teachers put all of the videos into Google Drive folder, and it was very easy for me to quickly put together a little recap. And the students got to watch it, shared it with the parents winning, and then I got the students to watch it and make a little reflection of the day, making a collage on Seesaw. So,
Perfect.
Great use of it in the classroom. So it was very exciting.
Well done.
So, Rach, what are we going to be talking about for episode 2?
Well, shall we start with our listener question?
Yes.
I am in my final year of study at university. I am currently completing a STEM subject, but I'm having difficulty coming up with an activity for an assessment for a 9-year-old child who has interest in video games, football and soccer. Something that uses hands-on resources would be preferred. Thanks.
So, Rach, what comes to mind for you when you heard that problem?
Well, actually, the first thing that came to my mind, I jumped straight into thinking about the syllabus, and I wondered if this was really a true STEM project, because I think the term STEM gets thrown around for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And my first thinking was, well, how do we make this a really true STEM activity? And is that actually what this listener is looking for? Wasn't sure. But
So, should we tell everyone what is STEM if you've heard of the word, but what does it actually stand for?
Science, technology, engineering and maths. But I think that's a very simplistic look at it, because when you come back to the syllabus, what it asks for is bigger design thinking process.
Yeah, it's like coming up with an idea for a project and using those 4 strands, I guess, to solve a problem and
solve
make
a problem
something.
in the world.
Yeah. All right. So
I did wonder, though, then I'm thinking video games, football and soccer, we're not really pushing into that design thinking in that way in this particular question. But I was like, well, what's something that is a digital technology tool that might spark some interest for this learner?
It's one of my favourites, I'm thinking.
Yeah. And I think we're probably thinking the same thing because we've already talked about it.
It's the
Makey Makey. Claire, tell us all about what a Makey Makey is.
Well, the Makey Makey, I love it. It's something that can turn everyday objects using foil, Play-Doh or cardboard into buttons, and you could use it as a little game that you can use it. It basically acts as an external keyboard for your computer, and you can plug into it anything that can conduct electricity to get it to work. Straight away with this problem, I was thinking getting the student, if they're really interested in games, they could create their own video game with Scratch and make a little game controller for it using the Makey Makey. It's such a brilliant tool. It's been around for a while now, and it was invented by these 2 guys that were studying at MIT in America, and they wanted to create something where everyone could become an inventor. So I don't know if you're familiar with Arduino boards or Raspberry Pi, but this is a much more simplified version of that. And how it works is it's got like a little
like a circuit board.
Yeah, and you plug to give it power, it uses the USB port on your computer, and then you plug into it alligator clips, and it basically acts as the functions for up, down, left, right, spacebar and click functions on your computer. And then on the other end of those alligator clips, link it to things that conduct electricity, which is an awesome lesson in itself. And things like Play-Doh, foil. I love using fruits and vegetables. And
I never use those.
I always
mess. But for a really easy one that's, you don't have to worry too much about getting resources together, they can just use a lead pencil.
Yes, because that's another whole discussion in itself as well about all the things that can conduct electricity. But then the key, was students also have to have a 7th alligator clip into the part that's called earth. And if their fingers are touching that metal part of the alligator clip, they then complete the circuit, and using their other hand, they can control the Makey Makey
Press the buttons,
by
yes.
pressing all of the things that link to those functions on the computer. And a great way to introduce it with students is like, I like to go all out. Surprise, surprise. I find bananas, no go, because they're so squishy after a while and kids getting excited and pressing. But I found zucchinis are good because they're hard, but then they've still got enough moisture. Because I find I've tried things like apples and carrots, and they're a bit too hard sometimes, and they're a bit hit and miss. So zucchinis work quite well. Zucchinis, even cucumbers as well. And I do get a banana, and but it can't be too hard either, because then it doesn't work.
Do you find though? Now we're going off topic. Sorry, listeners, but I often use Play-Doh with Makey Makey.
Yes, definitely always use Play-Doh.
And I find it easy because I can put it in a Ziploc bag. I send it out, simple. But then the Play-Doh gets stuck in the alligator kit.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that
And
later.
if you're not careful, it goes a bit mouldy.
It's a bit gross, yes. But the Play-Doh's good. But in the Makey Makey kit, it's like a box, and you have the board and you have the 7 alligator clips. But they also have these little wires, little white ones with the metal sticking out on each end. And I encourage anything that's liquid or Play-Doh-y, that's sticky, always use one alligator clip touches the end of the wire and the other one plugs it in. Yes, because I found you'd come back at the end of the lesson and they're all crusty from being stuck in. I love using it too with water, because you put the little wires into the water and then you can use your finger.
Never even thought of that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Gosh, we've worked
water
piano.
No. Yeah,
so you could have like 2 levels. You could do a spoon on the water, like ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
And then I wonder if that would close the circuit if you put the alligator clip on the spoon.
Probably would, because of the middle. Oh, look at us getting off. Getting all sciencey. But anyway, I feel like I went straight into something and didn't really explain it.
Sorry, Claire.
That's all right. But so sort of circling back, you're saying how it was invented, and now it's just become this incredible, huge tool that is available for many schools. And you can buy them on their own, because I know after I've done a lesson with them, kids like dying to buy their own version of it. They're about $70 to $100 each. You can just order them online.
You can Google it and you will find them. And most of our listeners will probably be looking at class sets. And then you'll be going to your educational technology suppliers and getting a bit of a better deal for a class set.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of using them, it's definitely lends to the science unit of work on circuits. But my personal use with Makey Makeys, which has been quite a lot, I reached out because when I was teaching creative arts many years ago and also had just freshly become the learning technologies teacher, I reached out to our wonderful dear colleague who's a mentor to us, Lisa, and I asked her for advice. What can I use? I want to learn how to use STEM products a bit better and understand them more myself, but how can I integrate them into creative arts? And she suggested the Makey Makey, and it changed my life, honestly. And so how we started was a little intro to it. So I madly set up with my wonderful sport RFF buddy. She came in and helped me set up in the morning, and I'd set up every Chromebook with a Makey Makey attached and link a cut up banana.
Set it all up for them.
Yeah, set it up for them.
Claire.
A blob of Play-Doh, a bit of foil, and on a piece of paper. And we talked about it and talked about what it can do. They opened up the plug and play apps, because there's a website for Makey Makey with all of these plug and play apps. And my favorite starting point is the piano one, because you can easily see what is working and what isn't if all the keys play. And then I let them just have a play with it. And then we have a great lesson about what conducts electricity, why does it work, and why does the earth need to be held in order to do it.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things to make them just go, wow, is when you do like that human chain where you talk about.
I've done that too.
Yeah, so like someone's holding earth and then you hold the hand of the person next to you and then they use their hand and like the energy transfers through them and they're like brains exploding. And then I'm like, all right, let's get more people out and let's see how, and we get the whole class in a circle. It's the best thing ever. And I remember Lisa came to watch my lesson and she saw that and she was like, ah. But then after we sort of have a play, the next lesson I like to say, okay, now you've had a go. Now you've got to plug it in yourself. And I must say, I have tried this with year 1 and 2. I would not attempt to let them plug it in themselves because it got a bit confusing for them. And the science was a little bit too beyond them, I felt. But year 3 and up, perfect.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think if you were working with a small group or a really interested little person who was in your K1-2s, no worries.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it with a class, you want them to be in stage.
Yeah, for sure. And so what I did was, first lesson, explore. Second lesson, plug it in yourself, try and reconnect it again, but I took away the fruits this time. Then we talked about the lead pencil, and then the challenge was for that day, make a game controller. So you had to make using foil, Play-Doh, lead pencil, create a game controller, connect it to the Makey Makey, and then if you could do that and it worked, you could play HTML5 Mario old school with it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was a very good carrot and incentive too.
I will say I've added in when I've taught with Makey Makeys a whole lesson on, well, what is conductive and what can we find that is conductive.
Yes.
So if you've got the time in your program or if it suits the outcome that you're trying to meet, that's always a bit of fun too. Put in some dummy stuff in there that doesn't work, or they can just go out to the playground and pick up a stick or whatever it is.
What doesn't work, So, and then from there, because the beauty of the Makey Makey is that it can link to coding and introduction to coding, and you can use Scratch, and it has the block code blocks that link to the Makey Makey. So you can create something on Scratch and play it using the Makey Makey, which is brilliant. So to sort of detour after that, I've used the good old hourofcode.org website and the dance party coding lesson that introduces children who've never used block coding before in a simple, very easy to follow game-like way, how to use block coding to make a little dance party. And it's really fun. And then after that, the next lesson, I like to introduce them to Scratch and try and make something, or using one of those tutorials, and let's do something basic. And then from there, introduce the project to them. And I've done things with creative arts where they had to make something with a musical instrument through Scratch, and you can record. I had some students that were in the rock band with me. They literally recorded the different chords on a guitar into Scratch, kept them as sounds, and then when they played the Makey Makey, it was like dun dun dun, dun
of
dun,
what they had recorded.
Very cool. They played through it. Another one was a piano board, but they use their feet to play the piano with it. A dance board, so you can do like a dance party game. And then with the little ones, I got them to make an artwork, and then I helped them connect it to the Makey Makey and put foil on their artwork, and then they played the piano on their art. So it was cute.
I think I've done something similar. One year I did a Christmas card. They did like an interactive Christmas card, so that when it opened, they programmed it to go like, ho, ho, ho.
Oh, nice. So from there, like, it doesn't have to be a creative arts project. Like, I've also done it with integrating with the Earth and Science Space unit with Stage 3 last year, where the students were making a diorama anyway of the solar system. I came in for a couple of days and got them to connect their diorama they'd already made to the Makey Makey, because you can program your sprite through Scratch to record a voice that you'll type in what you want it to say, and it spoke about facts about each planet of the solar system, which was really cool. And it was integrating all their research they'd already done and putting it all together in a fun, cool project. So, which was great for all the classes to come in and have a look at. But I know you've done some cool stuff with it too.
Well, I did something very similar, really. We did it linking in with geography in this particular class. And a shout out to the teachers in this class, because I came in and was like, here's this thing, introduced it to the kids, and then see ya. And they picked it up and ran with it. They did such a wonderful job. But it was a geography unit, and so they had all these giant big maps and then connected in their integrated parts.
Yeah, and talked
It's
about
just much the same as what you did with the solar system, but for geography.
But you can do it for so many things, and as a way to showcase their learning that they've already done in their writing and their research, and a fun way to integrate
like interactive.
The STEM element.
In.
Yeah, cool. And another tip I'd say is I like to create a Google Classroom page for when I'm doing this, because there's so many links you want them to go on. I want them to go on the Makey Makey apps website. I want them to go on the Hour of Code website. I want them to watch this really, really cool video for introducing, it's called Makey Makey an Invention Kit for Everyone. It's the guys that created it, and it's just them showing it's a fun, you know, that one goes, Makey Makey. And it's such a cool way for them to just get a snapshot of, wow, what is this thing? And then they get ideas later on. And but like links to those YouTube clips and anything else. And then when you create your assignment on there, they can submit it on there, or
or whichever classroom kind of learning management thing you're using.
To make it easier for yourself, I found that's a great way to set it all up for success. Yeah.
Very good.
Cool. All right. So, pros and cons, Rach.
Pros and cons. I was thinking about these last night, and I don't actually think that there are any cons, depending on your circumstances. Yeah, I think cost-wise, they're a real benefit.
Yes.
Because they're super cheap compared to some other robotics things.
Mm-hmm.
And bonus, they're really quite little, so they don't take up a lot of room in your cupboard or your storeroom or whatnot, which, at some schools, mine included, is a big problem. So, yeah, cheap, easy to store, very engaging and fun, low floor and high ceiling, so they're really easy to get working quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of glitches. I've never really had a glitch with a Makey.
The only thing, and it's funny because I kind of love it when it doesn't work. It's because there's something missing, and it's up to the kids to figure out what am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working? Yep. And often they've forgotten to hold the earth cord. That happened to us the other day.
Always user error,
or they haven't plugged the alligator clip enough onto a wire so it will connect,
or the conductive material is not sturdy enough,
or the apple is too hard and there's not enough. But then that's learning in itself. And my favourite part, it encourages creativity, which is my favourite thing, as I've said before.
Yep.
I love how you can combine art and science, and it really lends to STEAM as well as more than just STEM. And STEAM is when you add art into it as well. So hands-on projects.
I was just thinking hands-on because you do need your screen as well, but you're not solely on a screen, which is nice.
Yes.
You can sort of see the learning a bit better. Very good for collaboration.
Yes, group work always, yes.
Some tools lend themselves to one learner more than another. This is nice for a group.
The design hasn't changed. I have seen minis with only a couple
the Makey Makey Go.
Yes. But honestly, it hasn't changed since I think it came out. And I've been using them, I think 7 years.
Oh, I reckon at least.
Yeah. They're not going to need to be updated is what I'm saying, because it isn't reliant on a program or software.
Yes, that's such a good positive. Such a good positive to think about.
And I love how it integrates beautifully with Scratch and other coding platforms, and it just works like your keyboard, so you can have a lot of fun with it, which is cool. Cons, look, the only thing I think would be you do need a computer with a USB port.
Which not everyone has.
No. And so if you're a school that only has iPads, for instance, that's going to be a problem, or even possibly just MacBooks or other sort of without a USB port, you need the dongle.
Yeah.
But Chromebooks, beautiful with it. Absolutely beautiful with it. Yes. And there's only 6.
Well, not if you flip it over.
Yes, you can use the wires, and you can go that next step.
Yeah,
true.
Which I must admit, I've not really. I think maybe one project that I did with kids went that far.
Probably with secondary, you'd really go there.
Yeah.
So I have seen kids because they wanted to use other buttons, and you can plug the little white wires into the back.
Yeah,
the letters.
So on one side, when you look at the circuit board, it's quite simple and it's really obvious. Right key, left key, up, down. And when you flip it over, then there's a whole lot of other keys you can connect to. So,
cool.
Yeah, useful.
The alligator clips, we were talking about that before.
Yeah,
look,
they do. But you can also just buy new ones if they really went gross.
You know what? That's what I did, because when we would borrow them, and I would have them for a term, and yes, I'd feel awful. I would go to JCar, I think, and you could buy a packet of replacement alligator clips fairly cheap, and I would just replace all the ones. Or they do, after a while, kids get excited and the wires snap
a little bit.
Things like that. And yes, they do get very crusty if you haven't cleaned off the Play-Doh. But that's why I say don't put the alligator clip right into the Play-Doh or the fruit, because that's what's going to happen. But I know our friend and colleague, they would put it in, I think, was it, what's that?
Foil?
No. They would sit it in, I've got bicarb soda maybe, or something like that
to clean them
it.
all.
Yes.
Oh, but you wouldn't want to make them go rusty either.
No, I forget what she used. She told me. We'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
But whatever she was, she'd stick them in that overnight, and to get the rust, because they go rusty if they've been stuck in Play-Doh too long. Yeah.
You know what I've done before too is just waited a few days and then get some kind, helpful person to just clean them all out when it's got a bit dry.
Yeah. Or they're like, Miss Elsie, this one's crusty. I'm like, yes. I do find I guess a con would be if you're not confident with this, it is intimidating. I just find I've used it in staff meetings with teachers to introduce it as an idea for them and have it all set up with the fruit and have a bit of fun. And a lot of people see it and they love it, but then they're like, God, this is too hard. I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
Or they're like, how is this learning when I'm just getting them to play Mario and make a game controller? I'm like, oh, you're not getting the bigger picture, guys.
Oh, but we'll get to that soon when we talk about curriculum.
But you know what I mean? I think if you're not confident or have someone that's willing to jump in like us would be in a school or
and get it started.
to have a go and give it a try, they probably would sit in the too hard basket. I do worry.
But along with all things.
Yes, true.
So
if you're not willing to give it a go. But that's what we're here for, guys.
all right, so shall we think about how that then links to curriculum?
Should we say also, but it's not exactly a robotics system. It's more of an interface tool. You're not necessarily programming it itself, if that makes sense. You need to use Scratch to
and
do
I think
it.
this is when I've taught a full term with Makey Makeys, I often begin with what is an input device and an output device.
Yeah.
And how do peripheral devices work as part of a computer system. And it's just another input device.
Yeah.
What it is, like you would have a mouse or a keyboard or a printer or printer's output. But how you have other things that plug in. It's just, you're building something new to plug into that computer. So.
Yeah. All right, my curriculum guru, take it away. How can we link this to curriculum?
Oh, well, STEM. So we're coming back to that discussion from earlier on, thinking about the initial question, which was quite general in a way. STEM is such an important part of our curriculum, but sometimes I think in the current climate, a little bit overlooked. And I think if you go right back, now I hope I get this right, but the Alice Springs or Mabwante, I think, Education Declaration from 2019, our country has decided that STEM learning is important to us.
Yeah.
And then that filters through into our curriculum documents. And where you see it is in design thinking.
Yes.
And so whether it be the Australian curriculum, New South Wales curriculum, or any of the other state curriculums that might be existing out there, design thinking is a core concept. And they have different models, but it's pretty much understanding a problem, coming up with some solutions, and ideate is the word that often is used in that process. So great vocab word for your kids to ideate, come up with new ideas. Build a model, you test it, you change it, you reflect on it.
And my favourite thing, trial and error.
Absolutely.
And that's how we learn, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so the purpose of design in those digital systems is to solve problems and contribute to a better world for people.
I love that.
And
that's
really
straight
love that
from
too.
the syllabus, isn't it?
Straight from the syllabus. That's from New South Wales 2024 science syllabus.
Love it. Which should be implemented, I think, from next
27.
27. Yep.
Yeah, so but people will certainly be beginning next year.
Yeah.
And still thinking about that New South Wales curriculum, it encourages the use of cross-curricular STEM learning.
Yeah. Yes.
And in the current climate where everything is about explicit teaching, people might wonder how this can be done.
Yes, I know. It's definitely coming up a lot in our professional learning at my school at the moment.
Yeah, very topical. And I think of a wonderful man that we both know who is just such an inspiration in the education space. And he said to us not long ago, it's not explicit teaching, but it's explicit teaching strategies.
Yes.
And that is how you can advocate for STEM learning in your schools.
Yes.
Because the syllabus, if you go back and read, supports cross-curriculum learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be siloed because the timetable is, 50 minutes of this and 2 hours of that.
Yeah. And so as a way of sort of jumping in and back to where we were, saying that if you do have an RFF specialist role, they're looking for ways to do what I did and use it in creative arts. And then you're covering that. Or like we've done with schools and at the moment I'm going to do in my history unit, we're going to integrate a STEM tool to help share their research and their knowledge in a cool way, but integrating that STEM as well.
Yeah, because we don't have time to be doing all these things standalone.
No.
And doing a cross-curriculum approach really helps to strengthen, if it's geography, well, you're strengthening your geography understanding while you're strengthening your digital technologies understanding.
And it's breaking that mindset, guys, with, I know, I've worked with people that they love the idea of it, but they think, oh, is it taking away from the learning? I'm like, no, it's not. You don't understand, how rich. Yes, it's fiddly, and yes, it takes time, but what you get out of it is it's all about that process, isn't it?
That's right. And the explicit teaching is still there.
Yes,
You're explicitly teaching
how to use it.
A new device, a peripheral device.
And the science behind it.
You're explicitly teaching the thinking strategies that go in around debugging when there's a problem.
Yeah.
You're explicitly teaching technological skills. explicitly teaching the steps in the design process so
Mhm.
they understand how designers come up, or
Yeah,
engineers, or
inventors.
whoever
Yeah.
it was, inventors,
Mhm.
how they come up with their ideas. And that's where your explicit teaching comes in. And then the students are able to use all of those skills that they've been taught to create something new.
Oh, I love that so much. It's just like us in a nutshell. Awesome.
Oh,
So
so then specifically, if you were teaching this as a standalone, you're going to be in the science curriculum.
definitely.
For the Australian curriculum, your digital technologies, from stage 1, they
Yeah.
start looking at input and output devices. That's the same for New South Wales. So possibly some of your older learners there, but definitely by stage 2, you'd want to be using that. Now, something I learned when I was looking at the different curriculum documents, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but circuits went from
Yeah.
stage 3 to stage 2,
I think it has. Yes.
and then it's gone back.
Yes.
So new curriculum's going back. So
And it's perfect for circuits.
it's so perfect for circuits.
It's amazing.
So it might be that when you're thinking of your scope and sequence, you might save, because I do tend to save
yes.
a little. Like you might do, spheros in stage 2 and then Makey Makey's in stage 3 because it suits the stage 3 curriculum.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. I find more success with the older kids. And I found when I did it with creative arts, I found the students weren't really up to creating something themselves in Scratch. They spent the whole time making their pianos or making their dance boards, and all they had time for by the end of the term was to plug it in and use a pre-made, like on the
Yes.
Scratch library that
Yep.
people share their projects. And that's great, but I couldn't assess them that they had coded or anything
Yes.
themselves. Whereas stage 3 kids,
Yep.
they were ready for that challenge.
Now, what's just popped into my head, Claire, is I think I read somewhere that some of our colleagues aren't allowed to use Scratch.
Yes, actually, very good point. I used to always get kids to sign up because they kind of have to. If you want them to create a Scratch project, you want to save it because hours of work in there.
Yes.
And so you have to log and create an account.
And it's very clear that you have to do it with a made-up name and all of that sort of stuff.
But sadly, there is a whole chat kind of system in there because kids, anyone can share projects on there, but then there is a way that they can communicate with people on there, which is not quite safe. So that's where it's hard. So a lot of people have stopped using it. But I guess it does come down to using it only at school, because if they're in the classroom only for that hour, you can monitor their use, making sure it's visible, and going back into your responsible use of technology agreement and putting the onus on the children that, yes, I'm not going to do anything that's irresponsible. I do encourage them to explore the ones that are there because you can look inside people's projects, because sometimes I can't help them when they're like, I really want to get my thing to do this. And I'm like, I don't know how. So
we have to learn together.
Yeah. And that's right. So it's good that it's there, but I know we've just, be mindful of that. I haven't had any problems with it myself.
No, I haven't.
I think it was only
either.
kids if they were going on at home and then they found all those things. At school, I don't think you'd be able to do it. But so I guess for differentiation, how would you say it would work for different leveled learners for this? I think you definitely. Well, I think I've kind of answered that.
I think that too, and I think you just have to scaffold it a little bit more for someone who needed help. You might say explicitly model how to use it.
Yes.
Because it's not perhaps the sort of thing I would just say play. I don't think it lends itself to play not from the beginning.
No, that's why I would start it off. Give them a bit of success by setting it up for them, but talking more about how it works and the science behind it first, and then having a play with the pre-made apps. And then, like I said, I tried very disastrously to let them plug it in. So I learnt pretty quickly, only from about stage 2 and up, can plug it in themselves and have a go. But I did have to sit with a lot of groups, or I found after a while, I took a photo of mine that I had up the front, put it up on good old classroom screen, and they could go up and check, okay, what am I missing? Have I plugged everything in? So having that model was handy, and that made it a bit easier. And I guess I left it open for the project that they could code something in Scratch, but I made it a bit more realistic in terms of time and ability. If they weren't able to code their own game to use it with, that was still okay. If they made a project, they plugged it in, and they got to play a pre-made game, that was still okay too.
Absolutely. And I think you touched then on just having more time. Sometimes that's enough of an adaptation. It's just to have a bit more time.
Yes, and
if you can, you'll get it.
That's the thing. And this, I did it over one lesson a week for a term. And back to the cons, be prepared for some mess because
That's not too bad though.
no, it wasn't
Some
really.
other things.
It was more
Lego.
when they're making their projects with foil and paper and cardboard and diorama. Like, I love that
It's
learning.
a happy mess.
It's paint, it's everything, and I love it. But yeah, some people, it's very much out of their comfort zone. And if they walked into my room, they'd be like, ah! Or like when we would have musical instruments everywhere and kids are banging away. Ah, but I love that. That's just me. But be prepared. Yes, it's messy, but I love to say, but you know what? That means it's working. The
That's
kids are
true.
engaged. They are loving
I have never
it.
seen I've never seen a student not engage with Makey Makey.
No, they love it. So many, where do I buy them from? And I'd have like parents going, what is this thing? Like,
I think it's a good present
Oh,
for
it's
if you had
so
a kid who was,
good.
because it's not that expensive
No.
and
So fun.
big engagement.
yeah.
And for those top learners who need that higher ceiling, you just flip that board right over.
100%. Yes, definitely. So going back to our original question about using it. So for a 9-year-old, an activity which was an assessment, interest in video games, football and soccer, absolutely we would say create it as a scratch project, learning how to create a game. And there are tutorials on there for soccer games, like the goal.
Yes, that's what I
Yes.
thought of too, because one of the
Yes.
pre-done Makey Makey apps is a soccer
Yeah.
game. So
And when I did this as an option for with years 5 and 6 last year with the school I worked with, I let them pick a creative project like a dance board or piano or something, or they could create a game. And a lot of the boys particularly wanted to make a game, and a lot of them made soccer or basketball games.
Yep.
And because they've got pre-made backdrops for your game, there's a soccer goal one, and they made a kicking game. So this would be something I think you could cover a lot of things like we've said, and set it up like an interest project. Yeah.
then I'm thinking about the fact that it's an assessment and you don't have to have an assessment on paper at the end of a unit.
No,
you can
it's
just
their
assess the
project.
final product
Yeah.
and assess how they've gone throughout the building of the
Yes, and if you want to really step into assessing the steps in their design process, get them to document it. There's so many worksheets or anchor charts or I don't know.
Or
like,
just take a photo of it every time you
Exactly,
come
of
up with a
every
new
step.
design. Here's the 5 different designs that
Yeah.
it took me to get to my final product.
Yeah, and if you were doing it like I suggested through Google Classroom each week, upload a photo of your stuff.
What did you do this week?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think hopefully that answered your question, our lovely listener. And we hope that if you haven't heard of Makey Makey, please give it a try because it is awesome.
We'll
Yeah.
put all the links that you might need and maybe some of those videos that we talked about that you found useful. We'll
Yes.
put those as links as well to give a little head start because there's plenty of good
Oh,
content
gosh.
online about how to use these.
If you search for Makey Makey project ideas, wow, there's a lot on there. Thank you
Right.
so much for listening. We hope this was helpful on learning all about the Makey Makey. We're diving a bit into STEM today, which was cool.
Yes, we did have quite a few tangents because we went to STEM and Scratch from that original question.
We sure did, but that's what we do. So please, we'd love you to follow us, subscribe to our podcast. Our email is takeitupanochau@gmail.com. So please send in any questions and we'd love to make that a
answer them for
focus
you.
for a future episode.
Better if you can send a voice memo.
Yes,
because
we
then
can, yes.
we'll put you on.
For
So,
sure. Well, we hope this encouraged you too.
Take it up a notch. Take it up a notch.
All right. Well, thank you. And we hope that this helped you take it up a notch.
That sounded a bit like
Oh, excuse me.
like a bit suggestive.
Stop
Like,
it, Claire.
take it up. Let's try it again. And I'll join in.